Newcastle upon Tyne, Deputy Mayor and Mayoress of the City of Sunderland, Deputy Mayor and Mayoress of the Borough of South Tyneside, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, and honoured guests, it gives me great pleasure and pride to welcome you to the fair Borough of Gateshead and the Sage Gateshead. Fellow members of the House, it gives me great pleasure to formally welcome you to the English as Second Language and Open Final of the European Universities Debating Championships Newcastle 2009. Just one more point. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our Chief Adjudicator, Mr. Sam Block.
Today is the culmination of a huge amount of work on behalf of Russell, Oscar and all our volunteers, and of almost a week's vigorous competition on behalf of the rest of us. The debate that we're about to see, the English as a Second Language final, is going to be the 300th debate of this championships, and I'm sure a fantastic culmination of that section of the tournament. We've seen over the course of the competition some of the highest quality knockout rounds and prelims that our judges say that they've ever seen before, and we hope that you've all had an awful lot of fun as well. Now, some of you have lived this for almost a week, and so debating is something that's very familiar to you. But for some people in the audience, it's maybe not something that they do every day, or that they've seen a lot before. Because of that, we're just going to give a brief overview of exactly what to expect today for those of you who haven't been spending the last 5 days of your life doing little else. The basic concept of debating is, of course, very simple and intuitive to all of us. It's about thinking and it's about speaking. Specifically, one side of the debate today is going to be trying to tell us we should carry out a certain policy, and the other is going to tell us that we shouldn't. Unlike many situations we find ourselves in where that is true, however, they aren't going to have chosen the sides that they're discussing. About 10 minutes ago now, 4 teams of individuals were told what position they were going to be speaking in. That's what they were going to be arguing for or against, and on which side of the debate they were going to be standing. So they don't necessarily believe the things they're telling us, but they want us to. Equally, another thing that you may not have expected about debating if you weren't familiar with it, and in which some teams often don't seem to expect even though they are familiar with it, is that there are in fact 4 teams in this competition, not just 2, not just one on each side. So you will hear 2 speakers support what we call the government, support doing the thing that the motion tells them to do. And after that, you will also hear a further 2. And the second team, what we call the closing team on each side, is really meant to show us that it's their unique contribution that is making the difference in the debate. So you'll see 8 speakers and 4 teams on 2 sides, but all 4 of those teams are trying to beat every other. They need to agree with the other team on their side, but they need to agree with them better. They need to be more persuasive. They need to show up the other team, not by telling us why their arguments are terrible, but by explaining what they really meant to say. And that's one of the skills that our judges will be looking for today. Now, the judges are going to be mainly assessing this debate on how well teams were able to discharge the task of explaining why their arguments were right and why it was their team that made the most important contribution to the debate, why they had the biggest positive impact for their side. Other things are important in persuading us of that, so the way they speak, the decisions they make. But all of that is building into the attempt to persuade us that their arguments suggest we ought to be following the policy that they're suggesting or rejecting the policy of the other side. Now, in today's debate, we've got 4 exceptional teams representing themselves. In opening government, we have Ljubljana B. We have Leiden A. In closing government, Haifa A. And in closing opposition, Galatasaray A. Today we'll be debating the motion that this House would remove all legal barriers to the genetic enhancement of humans? The judging panel for the final of the English as a Second Language category for Newcastle Euros 2009, and he's not coming on right now because he's finishing his work supervising preparation, will be former Euros English as a Second Language champion himself, Mr. Uwe Hu. With him completing our panel, firstly, world's finalist Alex Worsnip. Deputy Chief Adjudicator and Tab Master of this competition, Mr. Bob Nimmo. Really, what Alex? A former Chief Adjudicator of the World Championships, Mr. Derek Land. Former Euros ESL champion, Ms. Isa Levin. Also former world champion and deputy chief adjudicator of this competition, James Dray. Speaking Union, Rosie Unwin. And former world champion, William Jones. Okay, so in just one moment we're going to bring the teams out on the stage to debate the motion that this House would remove all legal barriers to the genetic enhancement of humans. Do we have the teams ready?